From your work with your clients, what do you believe that women truly think about men in today's society? We kind of touched on that already. You don't have to go too deep as you want to into that because we kind of already got there. But if you want to
Yes.
hit that, we can. If not, we can move on to the next one.
Uh, you know, again, I work with a wide range of clientele,
Yeah.
um, ages, sexualities, um, sexual identities, and so it's kind of a very complicated question. I
Like
think
we don't have to hit that. You
no,
can
but
if you
I
want to.
think it's important because I think the reality is as you mentioned, right? The role of men is changing. And so, with that, we're seeing a broader spectrum of how men present themselves. Um, when I was a kid, the only guys that wore skinny jeans were like your goth, like punk rocker, emo people, right? And
Yeah.
now it's like that's a cool thing. And, guys wear taper suits and, it's actually found quite attractive.
Oh, the
And so,
tapered suits are pretty cool, though.
right, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, there's a progression from the fact that every guy has to be like this uh bearded badass who if someone says something to me he's got my back and he's gonna protect me and he's gonna provide for my family, to an understanding that if I can have a conversation with him and he can hear me, that's pretty great too. And I might take that along with a little bit of a pot belly rather than having the other guy,
Go to the
because I
gym,
feel.
fellas. Go to the gym.
But I'm just saying, right? Like, so the understanding of what we want and what we need in a relationship has changed. And so I think the perception of men has also shifted along with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but does that bode good or bad for society as a whole?
You know, Again, I'm not big into good and bad, right and wrong, black and white. I think there's a whole universe of gray in between. And I think if the reality is that humans evolve, it's just part of the evolutionary process, right? And so, um, you and I, we met doing Krav Maga, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
like, when I'm at a place and people are like, "You were there by yourself at 10 o'clock?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "You weren't scared?" And I'm like, "No," right? So it's like as women learn to take care of themselves and to protect themselves, men don't have to fulfill that role as much.
Sure, but to be fair or to other people and to yourself, you are an anomaly in the realm of women. You're the strongest, like physically strongest woman I've ever met. You're stronger than 90% of most men that I know and still are and
Yeah.
were back then. Um, so you grew up fighting people and dudes too, so it's like
Yeah.
for you that's not out of the realm of possibility. However, like I have people that come into my gym. I got a dude that's like 6'4", 240 pounds. He brings his 13-year-old daughter. She's like 4'11" and like 99 pounds. you know there's no way she can physically deal with a guy that size, you know?
Well, okay, you say that, and we're going to deviate slightly from your question about how we perceive men. But I've got an 11-year-old client that I work with, and he's got some physical issues that prevent him from being the strong man he wants to be, right? We had a conversation the other day. School's starting back, and he's like, "What do I do if someone comes at me?" And I'm like, "Takes only a little more than 10 pounds to break the clavicle, a little bit more than that to rip an ear off. The throat's super sensitive. Eyeballs are soft, right?" Like the reality is, and so, I mean, I know it sounds gory, but my point is
No,
when
no, that's
people
me.
know how to protect themselves, we don't
Yeah.
have to like get into a full-fledged fight, right?
Oh, that's what I tell them.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it can
"No,
be really bad.
you're not trying to like, win the war here. You're just trying to make sure that you win the moment and then get yourself to
Get
safety.
out. And so,
Um,
yeah, so as we know that, then it shifts the dynamic. That's all I mean. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And too, I didn't mean, I meant good or bad in the sense that, you know, in the broader context, globally, every first world country on planet Earth has a population problem because people aren't getting together, they're not making kids anymore, nobody wants to have babies. And, you know, without new people, the machinery comes to a halt. You know, this we've seen it happen. And, you know, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm just a dude with a microphone talking smack,
Well,
but
well, let's
it
consider
seems
this.
to be that we would need some people coming into the society as a whole in order to keep the thing going.
Yeah.
Um, that's
But
where
what
I'm just like, I think it's I don't know, I think it's something that needs to be looked at, you know.
it does. It does. And I understand what you're saying, but it's not something that's just going to be corrected, right? The reality is a couple things. One, as I said, we're evolving as a society, and that's any country that's becoming modernized, westernized, however you want to put it. The focus is shifting off of reproduction, which was key initially, right? Because we all sustained our own farms, our own well-being, right? Was reliant on children, right? We had to grow stuff. And so we needed labor. And so we had kids and it sustained and we passed it down generation by generation. The farther we get from that, kids are not a necessity. And so people are putting the focus into how they want to live their lives and the experiences they want to have, right? And so the the shift in society in that sense, I think, has to be acknowledged. And then from a spiritual standpoint, when I look at it in the other way of things that I do, the children and the babies that are coming in now to the universe are or into the planet are here for very specific reasons because human consciousness is shifting. We're not functioning at the lower vibrations that we used to. And so we need very specific beings to come in to support that and to help the human race progress in the way that it's intended to.